Hello and welcome to another episode of The Untold, the show all about great individuals and their untold stories. I'm Abdullah Al-Hindiani and I'm with my colleague Mirzouk Said.
Hello, Abdullah. Hello, our dear viewers. Today we have a special guest. His name is Hashem AlBahrani, and he has a special story from electrical engineer into renewable energy.
Yeah, and his story is really special, especially for someone like me who studied the literatures, Arabic. I don't know anything about sciences, and he's gonna really enlighten us all about, the stuff he has.
And inspire us for a new vision for Kuwait 2050. So stay tuned and don't go away.
Welcome back from that quick break where we are joined with Hashem AlBahrani. Hello.
Hi, Mr. Abdullah.
Hello, thank you. I think we're gonna start this show by saying, how are you?
I'm all good, thankfully, and Kuwait is good now. We are getting into the summer, so I'm all good. Hope you guys are better than me.
Yeah, definitely getting ready for summer and trying to maximize, the outdoor activities before the summer come because the weather gonna be very hot. Going
Yeah.
outside, riding bicycle.
Yeah, exactly. Shifting from the winter activities to summer activities, it's a challenge for me, to be honest. I would choose the traveling.
Traveling.
Yeah.
My mom just told me last week, it was cold one day and then it was boom, summer all of a sudden. There was no segue into it.
Welcome to Kuwait.
Yeah. But I enjoy it. I honestly, I love the summer way more than winter.
Mhm.
Do you? Oh,
Yes, because less clothes, huh?
Yeah. And also, I'm really disliking anything about clothes, about conditioning and stuff.
Oh, okay.
At the house and everything, I turn AC all the way off.
Mm.
I just don't like, having,
Cold,
so many,
cold.
yeah.
You enjoy more warm, hot weather.
Yeah, basically, if you're trying to cover up, it's just not my liking. But, we're going way off topic.
Mhm.
So let's first just introduce yourself to us. How would you like us to know you?
So, me personally, I like it to present my personality based on the interest of the audience, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I have, let's say, like different verticals myself, like maybe like in the career side, hobby side, maybe even like personal interests, maybe. But for today, I want to show maybe the career side.
Career side.
Okay.
For me, like throughout my university and college, through to my having a job here in Kuwait and working towards building Kuwait.
So today you are an electrical engineer. I would like to know, if we went back in the days, how did Hashim end up being an electrical engineer?
So to start off, my degree is electrical engineering,
Okay.
but I don't work full time as an electrical engineer anymore. So what led me to electrical engineering? It started from the Kuwait Science Club in Surah.
Surah.
Yeah, so back then I used to like cars, okay?
Okay.
So when I got into cars more in that age, like when I was 13, 12 years old.
Were you in the summer camp? Where you go there on
yes,
summer and then
exactly.
you have 3 classes a day?
Exactly, this is the one. So
Were you there as
I
well?
was there, yes.
Okay.
yeah,
There you go.
so the nice thing about it is they give you 3 different disciplinaries.
Exactly, yeah.
So we had one robotics class,
Robotics.
one welding, and one I think fabrication or something like that.
Where did you find yourself though?
So actually it was me and my cousin. So we got into, I liked how robotics works. I liked how fabrication works. So in fabrication they would give us some motors, some idea hey, build a boat. Okay, so this is the equipment you have, come up with something.
Oh, okay.
It was very fun for me, enthusiastic, and I felt like even electricity works side by side with cars. Because, cars are mechanical. At the
Okay.
same time, what runs mechanical parts in cars nowadays is electricity.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's just like the blood in your body. Without blood, you can't move.
For
So the same thing with cars.
So did that period kind of, ignite your passion for the sciences?
That's not the end of the story, because in that Kuwait Science Club, after me and my cousin liked the classes, enjoyed them, and came up with different, like, let's say, builds in the class. After 1 month of the program, they called my dad. Hey, we want your son Hashem and my cousin Hussein Galaf to come to us. He said, why? What's wrong? Is there anything wrong? They said, no, they did something terrific in that summer camp and want to reward them to be the best students in that
beautiful way.
Yeah, so
That's good news.
yeah, it was very good news. It came out of nothing. We didn't prepare for it. So after that, we realized, oh, maybe we have some talent. Maybe we can grow. And thankfully, both of us got into electrical engineering. Hussein Galaf, he's actually now doing his PhD.
PhD,
Electrical
mashallah,
engineering.
mashallah.
Yeah, same university, Arizona State University. And it's really that appreciation, these awards really gave us some spark, gave us, like, let's say, the push to go further. So I would also like thank Kuwait Science Club for these activities, for these like moves that really sparks a lot of, like, let's say, inspirations in the young kids.
I think that's an underappreciated aspect of these kind of organizations, that they do influence these young kids into pursuing careers and hopefully change, the world for the better.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
huge shout out to Kuwait Science Club for taking care of young generations and also like taking care of their hands to lead into their passion.
Yeah, exactly. And because of that, every time I see like some kids, my nephews, niece, and I talk to my sisters, hey, you gotta put them there. You don't know what's their talents. Through these classes, they will discover by themselves, hey, mom, I like, let's say, robotics, or maybe I like weldings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember like the classes, they were so enjoyable and with like expert people. They give you training sessions, they lead you, they take by your hand, and even like the break, the system, it was really amazing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing I liked about it.
And so let's go back to electrical engineering. What is that? Like, can you talk us through that? A brief explanation about what it contains?
So, electrical engineering, to be honest with you guys, many people would find it to be the most difficult engineering disciplinary.
I mean, to me, all sciences are difficult.
I remember my friends crying about exams, crying about subjects.
Yeah, because the most challenging part about electrical engineering, that you don't see the electricity with your eyes.
Yeah.
Not like mechanical. Okay, you see gears going up and down. Okay, you feel the heat, and heat, let's say, transfer. That's all in mechanical engineering. Industrial, you have money. Okay, but in electrical engineering, you have to have, let's say, like, imagination.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Need the imagination, because sometimes they have like this perception that if you are an engineer, you're always like an analytical person. You don't use imagination.
Yep. Yes, to a certain level, but at the same time, you gotta think. Okay, we have these set of wires.
Okay.
Okay, how do I run, like, send signals to that bulb, to that light?
So electricity is invisible, or
You can't see electricity.
what
in
about
general.
those sparks things? What?
Those are, like, say, sensors.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
They would sense them by signals and electro waves.
Oh, okay.
Okay, or voltages and stuff like that. But still, you can't see it.
Oh.
The only maybe thing electricity you can see, maybe it's just like what they call it, the lightning.
Oh.
Okay, but this is in normal life you don't see that.
I mean,
that level.
this is how little I know about sciences, because I basically all I know about electricity is what I saw from movies where they move through the wires, and I'm like,
Or
okay,
from cartoons when you put like something on the plug with your hand wet.
yeah, and then I was like, okay, that's got to be real.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So through these equipments in the labs, we feel the electricity. Okay,
Yeah.
we gauge them. We put the gauges. Hey, okay, in this wire there is electricity. Okay, how do I make this electricity intense, or how do I make it maybe with high voltages? I don't want to get you in too much into
Details.
like details or confuse you, but electrical engineering in general is how to run electrical equipments from like distances, how to make them run efficiently, and in a good manner that serves all of us and serve humanity.
Very nice. And did you get the chance to study it here or like abroad?
Actually, I was fortunate to get the scholarship from the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Higher Education to go to study it in the US.
US.
Yeah.
So I finished
Where in the
bachelor.
US?
Yeah, I went at the beginning for English language program, I went to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
Oh, where the office?
Yes, exactly. But it wasn't the atmosphere I wanted there.
The is the coldness or what?
It was cold and it was kind of New York style.
And I think they don't
Okay.
have anything like there's not a lot to do there, right?
For my personality, not
Yes.
much. For
Yeah.
some people, yeah.
Yeah.
But my personality, I like widespread environment. I like
Outdoor activities.
The outdoor.
outdoors activities.
Riding bicycle,
okay.
running.
Exactly, hiking, exactly. And I don't like too crowded places, okay? So that's why I made the move to Arizona,
Arizona.
where I finished my bachelor's and master's degree.
And I think the ideal place in Arizona is also having like the Great Canyon or Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon, yes,
Grand Canyon.
exactly, exactly. And even I used to live in Phoenix,
Okay.
or Tempe, which is part of Phoenix. Only 2 hours away from it, there is like mountains with snow, okay? And so this like changing the environments served us very well. So whenever we wanted some snow, wanted some coldness, we would just drive
So you
like
have summer and winter.
exactly, yeah. So yeah.
That's the fun part about it studying in the U.S. because it's
Mhm.
such a continent, it's such a big continent that you can have so many environments all over the world.
exactly,
you
yeah.
go.
There is like all the environments that fits everyone. You can choose which state you want to go, and we were thankful to have this scholarship to choose from these good universities as well. That was my target as well, not just to go have fun, but at the same time come back with a very well educated, good universities,
Yeah.
so we can pay back to our country here in Kuwait.
Definitely.
And then you did them back to back, your bachelor's and master's,
Yes, I did them back to back because I didn't want to lose that passion or that
Yeah.
move
or the
what they-
momentum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did like studying abroad in the United States kind of change your personality or maybe your perspective on things?
Actually, it's changed me hugely, hugely. It made me open-minded. Okay, it made me get to know the other people. Okay, that's
From different cultures.
exactly, and getting to know and choose what's good in every culture and take it.
Seeing the beauty in everything.
Yeah.
Exactly, and not being like, let's say, oh, I'm from like this family or this nationality, everything is perfect. No, there are like good things and bad things.
Definitely.
Try to take the good things from each circle, from each group, and that's what I put in my mind. When I go to that environment, let me choose the best out of that environment and take it back with me to Kuwait.
Yeah, and I think all of us three have studied outside
Mhm.
and abroad. And I think it really builds your character.
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot,
and
a lot.
we're gonna really hone in on that, but we're just gonna take a short break and we'll come right back.
We are back, our dear viewers, with Hashem, and we're still talking about his journey in America. And now something excites me is your shift from electrical engineering to renewable energy. How did that happen?
So actually, it wasn't a huge shift. So renewable energy is kind of part of electrical engineering. Okay, so my master's degree is in electrical engineering, but emphasized into renewable energy. So my choice
think-
of
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, what made you do or make this choice? Because it's such a drastic move, especially
Yeah.
compared to our type of energy here.
Yeah, because to be honest, I have that mentality that, okay, if I want to go study, let me study something useful.
Yeah,
Okay, not only a degree to go back and get.
Like trying to make
Salary.
an impact.
Yeah, I want to have some like impact in the society, impact in myself as well. Okay, and go after something I have passion so I can give the best out of myself. So renewable energy has been a very big thing in Europe, in America, okay, but not really in the Middle East. Okay, but with a lot of like, let's say, researchers and studies showing that the oil, it seems like it will go away at some time in the future.
And
Yeah.
you need the replacement.
Exactly. So I figured that this trend definitely will come to Kuwait. So let me get into that wave before it arrives Kuwait.
I think this is also like contributing to the vision of Kuwait for 2050, sustainable energy.
Yes, exactly. So as of now, thankfully Kuwait is and the administration is opening their eyes and making serious moves to have that diversity in energy
Yeah, and
supply in Kuwait.
I think you mentioned something about that. Is that, and this is to me something maybe a lack of information,
Mhm.
but to me it seems like we have a great energy source that is the sun. So why not? Why can't we use
Solar power.
the solar power? Because I've heard that it's too expensive to implement. But what is?
Yes, unfortunately, these information are very outdated.
Outdated.
Yes, it was true 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but the quicker and the more research is being done in this field, they are getting cheaper and cheaper. Only from, let's say, like one part of the PV project or photovoltaic project and renewable energy projects, which is the solar modules, PV modules. One PV modules back then in 2010 would cost about $400 to $500. Nowadays, it costs about $120 to $100.
Okay.
So that's
So
a
they're
drop
cheaper
of
than an
yeah,
iPhone.
that's a drop of 70%. Only within 1 year, the price has dropped by 50%.
50%.
So the prices are going down rapidly, and the information many people have are very outdated.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Currently, what they call levelized cost of energy. How much, if you compare like the same electricity that the regular gas would produce compared to what the solar produced for you, as of now, solar is producing 50% less in terms of pricing compared to regular or conventional energy sources in Kuwait, which is usually gas and
Oil.
yeah. So
Oh.
gas they would derive it from oil.
Okay.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So what are the type of renewable energies? Because we've spoken,
Mhm.
mentioned solar. Are there different kind of energies?
So there are several ones. The oldest renewable energy sources, by the way, which is hydropower.
Oh, okay.
Hydropower, where they put like, let's say,
Hydrogen, is that?
no, it's hydropower.
Oh,
Hydropower by water,
Oh,
where
okay.
they put some
Is that in the old
generator.
pictures where it's like the little rolling thing?
exactly
Oh,
where they
okay.
put it on the river.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the oldest renewable energy sources. Okay.
And-
Also, we have solar. Okay,
Yeah.
which is by the sun. Also, we have wind, where like windmills you
Yeah,
see
okay.
if you go to Netherlands, stuff like that. You see a lot of them.
Yeah.
And also, we have something called CSP, concentrated solar power, which is the heat of the sun. There's
Yeah,
difference between
The
the
extent of
solar.
the sun.
Yeah, the solar PV, let's say, so photovoltaic is the radiation of the sun. It's not the
Oh.
heat.
It's the radiation.
Okay.
The radiation. Okay.
Radiation, yes.
But the other one, CSP, it is the heat of the sun, where it heats the mirrors. Then the mirrors would direct into some pot or
power.
big pot. Then it boils the liquid inside.
Oh, so
then,
it's like when you were a kid, you grab the little microscope,
Mirror,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you
Then-
put it in.
exactly. The
Yeah.
CSP works like this.
Okay.
There is like some like what they call like a curved mirror or something like that, where it concentrates the heat into specific spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like implementing all of these. Is it feasible in our lifetime, or is that talking
Mm.
about decades in the future?
So far, yes, it's feasible, because as you see now, like most of the projects, the main driver for them is the money side
Yeah.
or the dollar sign.
Yeah.
Okay, about 10 years ago, solar has been becoming economically very feasible for many regions around the world. Okay, where like let's say in Middle East, the most country that has renewable energy as of now, it's Jordan.
Georgia.
Okay.
About 40% of their energy supply is energy demand is supplied by renewable energy, and many of that is generated by either residents or private sector, not even the government. Okay, so they are pushing to that. Why? Because in Jordan you have electricity rate are very high. Okay, so it's a must for them. It's very
Yeah.
feasible for them.
So,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, for example, here in Kuwait, if I wanted to turn my household, my
Mhm.
own individual house, turn into a solar energy or something,
Mhm.
is that possible, or are we not there yet?
So the situation here in Kuwait, the houses have limited spaces to run the electricity all by solar. Because also we have high energy demand on the AC units.
Yeah.
AC units consumes a lot of power, and the spaces on the top of our houses usually here in Kuwait, they will satisfy only 30 to 40%
Oh,
of the
okay.
load, and that's only during the day. But the idea is that the government, what they are doing now with their big projects called Shigaya, okay, it's in Salmi area, where they have big solar farms, okay,
Yeah.
where there's like big PV projects for about, like now they're putting about 4 gigawatts there, 4 to 5 gigawatts. They would generate the power there, and then they transmit it to the city.
Oh, so it's like they're
Transmit it.
harvesting the power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, so you don't really need to put it in your house as of now.
So
Oh,
what's
okay.
your like kind of vision for the renewable energy, especially like here in Kuwait? What do you imagine? What do you see it in the future?
So as of now, it's starting to move quickly here in Kuwait in the positive directions, and the main driver of this movement in Kuwait mostly is government.
Yeah.
Government.
Okay, they are putting like tenders, a project for the private sector to conduct, but let's say private buildings and other sectors are not adapting or adopting these practices yet, because the electricity rate is low. But there is like a potential that electricity rate will not stay cheap like that anymore, because there's like, you know, like the oil prices are going maybe down, and then
Yeah.
you have to sell the electricity more, and so now factories and companies trying to make some studies on how feasible is that, and thankfully there are like some projects in Kuwait are adapting that, because there is some like regulation now have been
Made.
announced and made by the Ministry of Electricity that would buy energy produced by renewable energy from private sector,
Oh, okay.
and they would buy it with a profit by good margins.
Yeah.
To
Okay,
encourage the private sector. out there.
exactly. That's the idea. So this regulation will be practiced as what we know in the next 1 or 2 years. This will push and move the renewable energy movement very quickly in the positive direction for Kuwait future.
And how do you find like you're studying masters and the master degree that you are doing or you are already done?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna contribute to the sustainable vision.
Thankfully, my master's degree, I hooked it up with even working in the US in the renewable energy sector, where I worked as a consultant for mega projects there. So when I combined both of these, my master's degree in renewable energy and working there, I got the experience in how do they deal with renewable energy, how do they deal with these projects, how do they arrange and make all the stakeholders benefit in a good way that moves the renewable energy movement in, let's say, fair and encouraging method.
And how would you describe the difference of perception or awareness between the two cultures, like me in the US and now being in Kuwait?
And the you mean
Like
the
being
jobs
aware,
and the career
yeah,
wise?
being aware about, you know, different
Renewable
sources
energy.
of energy. Yeah.
Mhm. Unfortunately, in Kuwait, there is still that old mindset that renewable energy, it's not really useful. It's
Not
not
very effective.
Yeah, it's not that feasible. So here in Kuwait, we are putting the efforts to educate the market,
Yeah.
to participate in events, to give some talks, just like this one,
Exactly.
to give the word to the people in Kuwait that think about renewable energy, especially now with the new encouragements or let's say incentives by the ministries to give for them, and especially now with the higher administrations, with the higher administration in the government, they are pushing into getting even investments and developers outside Kuwait
Yeah.
to invest in Kuwait in this sector.
Because it's like a stock market, right? If you work for it now,
Mhm.
so that, you know, in the future, you have a way better infrastructure.
Exactly, that's the thing. And now you can see we have some challenges with electricity demand in Kuwait. And one of the quickest and most efficient ways to satisfy these demands is renewable energy projects.
So it's sustainable? Is it sustainable for our kind of heat or our kind of usage for...
Usually, solar farms' lifetime or lifespan varies between 20 to 25 years. Okay.
Oh.
That's still like a good period, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Especially when you calculate it on the payback periods where you can return the investments you put on those projects. Usually, this project would take about 6 to 7 years to pay back.
So budget friendly.
Exactly. And quick, okay, and you don't have to change much in the environment. And thankfully in Kuwait we have a lot of empty lands we can utilize.
Yeah.
So you think there's like some support like through the government, through like the local to renewable energy?
Yes, there is like an good moves, but we may like want something even better. And so we can learn from the surrounding countries like in Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, where they have done much quicker basis into renewable energy.
Yeah.
And the idea is not only doing renewable energy projects, it's about even saving our budgets, saving even the oil.
And it's also about consumption as well. Because I do remember my grandfather when we were kids, and this maybe has been a joke about on his part, but when we would say it's getting cold, why don't we turn the AC on? He would get us, the little fans from the supermarket.
Yeah.
He'd give us all of those. He's like, cool yourself with that one. And that was kind of a lesson that really teaches you about the consumption. Because I think our main problem is not the sustainability of energy as much as how much we use it.
Exactly. And I want to even give you like some maybe shocking information.
Yes,
that,
please.
Yeah. By the way,
Before we start, our audience, get ready.
one of the first and largest solar projects in the Middle East actually started in Kuwait.
Oh, mashallah.
And when was that? In 1981.
Mashallah.
1981.
By KISR, Kuwait Institute for Sciences and Research.
Okay.
Actually, they did a 1 megawatt project. It was considered to be one of the biggest solar projects
The most
around the world.
Development, like the most developed at that time.
The most developed and in
Wow.
terms of size as well. So Kuwait really invested into that sector, and we wanted Kuwait to continue that,
Yeah.
not stop to that.
Called
And
the bride of the Gulf during that
Period
era.
or whatever.
And
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a movement to, continue upon that, especially now because we're seeing all of what would happen with our current timeline of, energy usage. But unfortunately with that, we've reached the end of our episode. That's all the time we had. Thank you for joining us, Hashem AlBahrani. That was really enlightening, pun intended.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us. Any last words?
Thank you very much, Abdullah. Thank you very much, Marzouk. It was like a very good opportunity for me to share more about renewable energy, to share more about our also experiences in the US, to give this encouragement to our youngsters and students now. Please make the best out of the education that you are having right now, because you will get the fruits of this efforts later in your life, and you will also pay back to your country.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
You heard him. Do your best and work on something that you're really passionate about. And until next time, stay tuned. And we come to the end of our episode. It was really amazing conversation with Hashem. He inspired us for the vision of 2050.
Yeah, and I think that's a great lesson to take from today's episode, especially for our audiences today, to emphasize the need for renewable energy, especially how we're seeing the current model of energy is not sustainable.
Exactly. He says something very grateful and something very inspirational, that don't take a job only to do the job, but to leave a fingerprint.
Yeah, basically pursue whatever you can have an impact on the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think with that message, we can conclude our today's episode of The Untold. Until next time, I'm Abdullah Hindiani, and I'm with
Said, see you.